Hey there, my name is Amy Silvis with Raising Capital for Real Estate Investors. I hired Adam because I needed help building this podcast. It was brand new to me. I wasn't quite sure how to get started, how to make sure it was successful. So I decided to work with him. And by working with Adam, I've been able to create a really successful podcast. It was easy, it was fun. I felt like I knew exactly what I needed to do to serve my target audience. And the best part of working with Adam has been having the framework and not having to reinvent the wheel myself. There are proven tactics, strategies, and tools, and Adam handed them right to me. I knew exactly what I needed to do to execute. He was with me every step of the way, and I'm incredibly grateful and blessed to work with Adam. Highly recommend if you're considering creating a podcast or growing it that you work with him too. Thanks again, Adam. You're the man.
What's up, Pod Pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you are listening to Podcasting Business School. It's a show where I teach podcasters simple strategies to help you grow your audience and turn your podcast content into new clients. Today, we're talking about how to use your podcast to attract your ideal client avatar. This is a coaching episode, a little listener to client conversion episode with my pod pal, Raina Campbell. And I coach her through the process as if she's paying me. That's the best thing about these coaching episodes is you get to be a fly on the wall as I just give somebody the best stuff that I've got. No gatekeeping, no holding back. Now, if this is a topic or a pain point, listener to client conversion that you are very interested in, don't forget, we got a workshop coming up, Pod Pals. My podcast content to clients workshop, April 21st through the 24th, 4 days, where I'm delivering the goods on how to turn your content into clients. If you're an online business owner that is leveraging your podcast to grow your online business to get new clients, or at least that's the goal, and you want to figure out how to optimize that, let's spend 4 days together in this workshop. The link is in the show notes and on the website, podcastingbusiness.school. So without any further delay, let's dive into this live coaching episode with my pod pal, Raina. All right, we are here with my pod pal, Raina. We're going to do a little podcast listener to client conversion audit. Raina, I want to kick this off. I've got one clarifying question. I've dove into your show. I've got a bunch of notes, but I'd like to hear you describe your ideal client avatar. That seems like something that we need to get clear on a little bit. So when you work with somebody, like who is that person that really is the person you love to work with that you feel like you could help the most?
So that's a great question, Adam. And that's something that I've been trying to figure out for the longest. If you probably, that's probably why I don't have that much business yet, revenue generating from actual clients. I would say now my ideal person, I would want to say looks like me, right? Like you're a mom or you are someone who's mid-career, you have a business of some sort. So maybe that's a creative business. I would say creative business owner, careerpreneur. You might be juggling this full time alongside a full time job. You have other responsibilities in life, but you really need someone who's an expert at what they do to help you come in and figure out next steps, whatever that might be.
Okay. Okay.
And
I like,
particularly, probably women of color, I would say, but I'm
okay.
open to beyond that.
Okay, even better. So I love every level of niche that you just described, and you kick out some great. I'm always thinking in keywords. So, moms, mom entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, side hustle, um, business, women of color, like all of that is really good stuff that we can work with. All right.
Okay.
I feel like one of the issues right now is we're a little bit. This is a show about everything for everybody type of a thing.
I know, and that's the big thing 'cause, I feel like I like storytelling, right? So the show is me diving into people's stories, and I get so enthralled when people are just sharing their stories, but I feel like I could definitely focus it more to help grow listenership and then eventually help grow clients as well.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. So let's get our audience up to speed here just with a few quick facts. The name of your show is Dreams in Drive. You've got 430 over 430 podcast episodes. You've got 2,500 people on your email list. That is awesome, Raina. Um, and it seems like we just need to focus a little bit on clarity of who you're helping and kind of how do we attract that person. Does that sound good so far?
Yes, that's definitely what I need.
All right, I've got a few action steps.
Okay.
I think the first one is I really want you to spend some time thinking about that ideal client slash listener avatar, and really think about the person, I just put you on the spot for like 30 seconds there. Like, who do you want to help right now? But spend a week just making notes. It doesn't have to be like a sit down session, but maybe just throughout the day, like, oh, I really enjoyed this person, or think about a past client or somebody that you've been able to help. And what did you enjoy about that experience that went really well? What are their defining characteristics? What types of businesses do they have? What problems are you helping them solve? And really think in those terms and through that lens. So I think that's the first really, really important step, is to take a little bit of time reintroducing yourself and kind of redeveloping your ideal listener/client avatar. Does that sound like an okay first step to you?
Yeah, should they be the same person? And I say that because I'm thinking about it now. I sometimes feel like my best client could be my guest.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And there are different techniques as far as who's in that guest seat for sure. And we can discuss that 100%. But yeah, I mean, I just want you to kind of take the filters off with the show and just think about, who am I helping here? And how do I help them? What problems do I solve? And then we can make the show fit that, because that's kind of my second step here. And this is a big one. And I'm just gonna rip the rebranding band-aid off here. So I think once we figure out the avatar, I would strongly consider rebranding the show to attract this exact person as much as possible. And I would leverage what I call my perfect podcast naming formula. I mean, honestly, the name of your show is the number one superpower that we have to leverage what I call organic discoverability and SEO. And that's like just people searching certain things on Apple and Spotify, even YouTube. And it's like, I want that working for you, not against you. And right now, like the three key parts of my perfect podcast naming formula. Number one, when I read the name of the show, I don't know exactly what it's about. We don't check that box. Number two,
Really?
I
In my
100%.
head, it does. I'm
I have
like,
no idea what
you're putting your juice and drive.
that's, but that's you. Um, you understand that you're there to explain it to yourself.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I need
So,
that.
so if I just read it, Dreams and Drive, I really don't know what that's about. It could be about, I mean, the word dream is in there. Maybe it's about sleeping. Maybe it's about, I mean, dreaming, goal setting. I don't know.
All
Um,
right. Thank you for
the,
that feedback.
the next question that we have to be able to say yes to is, who is this show for? We have no idea who this show is for. That's a problem. That's what we're working. That's what we're talking about. That's what we're working on. The third box that we must check is we have to have a keyword in there that someone is searching that applies your ideal client avatar. I'd like to see 2 keywords. That's like bonus. So right now we have 0 keywords. Nobody is searching the word dreams or drive. Unless drive, like my 15-year-old son needs to learn how to drive. Maybe I search the word drive, because I got to teach him how to drive. But it's not pulling. We don't have words like motherhood, mom entrepreneur, solopreneur, side hustle, business, entrepreneurship. Those are all the words that your ideal potential client avatar that we're developing is searching. So we need to know what it's about, who it's for, at least 1 keyword. Ideally, we start the name of the show with the big keyword. The fact that the first word in the name of my show is podcasting, and that's the number 1 search term for my ideal client, that's a big deal. That's how people like yourself find me. When you're on Apple or Spotify, if you put podcasting tips in there and my show pops up, that's a huge advantage. I didn't have to pay for that. I didn't have to post on social media for that. I didn't have to create an Instagram reel to get you to see that. It's automatic and it just happens. So that's, I would, again, this is the second step, because we have to clearly identify who you want to attract first. And then we leverage that naming formula to attract that person. Is that making sense so far?
Yep. And I just searched your Apple Podcast, and it is true. You are the number 1 for
Boom.
podcast tip.
Number 1. That's what I like to be. Okay. So now I'm going to throw kind of a lot at you here, but it's all about simplification. That's the good news. So I think once we've got the first 2 steps in place, we now know who we want to attract, and we have this organic discovery lever that we're pulling to attract them with your show. The next step that makes sense to me is to create a simple offer that's going to allow you to help your ideal listeners solve a problem. So, and just starting really, really simple. And you're going to have to test a little bit. And one of my favorite methods to do this is just create some sort of consulting package. I believe you've done a little bit of consulting in the past. Is that
Yeah, I used
accurate?
to do like podcasting, like how to start a podcast,
Okay.
stuff like that in the back, and or like just business strategy
Okay.
sessions like that.
So consulting, and I like to do um, kind of a like I don't want you to be I charge this amount per hour. I want you to break free of that. That's going to be one of my rules that I give you as a mentor here. Is like I don't want you to go. I'm going to charge $99 for a 30-minute session. I like something like, hey, we're going to do a 14-day. One of my favorite initial packages is a 14-day consulting package. And instead of saying, hey, I'm going to charge you $97 for 1 hour of my time, I'm going to say we're going to spend 14 days together, connected, and we're going to work on solving this problem that you have of whatever it is that they need help with. And you're going to get a 30-minute session on day 1 and a 30-minute session on day 8. And in between, we're going to connect via email or Voxer or Slack or whatever and get your questions answered in between our sessions. But you're going to get 14 days of access to at least Q&A via email plus the coaching sessions for me. That's a real simple way to do this. Then we have an option of going, well, if we have a bigger project or need more help, this could be a 28-day consulting. This could be a 90-day consulting. So it's really easy to expand that out. So that's like a very simple, you don't even have to define the problem that you're going to solve. This could, let's say you're going to consult on podcast launch, or you're going to help moms start their online business or something like that, but you can handle, you don't need to name this the blah, blah, blah podcast launch thing. I don't think that's even necessary at this point. You just go, you create an episode, like a solo episode, and you talk about helping moms launch their podcast or the business or whatever it is, marketing, social media, whatever you want to do. And I love helping moms solve this problem. Today, we're going to talk about it. And if you need some help with this, I'd love to talk to you about how I can help you. Schedule a discovery call. And you put this, hey, in 14 days, here's what we can accomplish. If you need a little bit more help, we've got a 30-day package or a 60-day package. So we're not in this is my online course for this specific problem type of thing. It's just, let's work together. We're going to do a little bit of consulting back and forth. We're going to solve a problem. And that can fit a lot of different problem containers as far as what you're helping them do. Is that making sense so far?
That makes a lot of sense.
Okay. And again, by using that time span with multiple points of access, we can break free of dollars per hour. I don't do this anymore, but I had a 14-day consulting package, and I would charge $1,000 for that. And people would be like, oh, I'm only getting 60 minutes with you. That's like $1,000 an hour. I'm like, well, if you want to look at it that way, but you're getting 14 days of access to me, and you can Voxer message me as much as you want during those 14 days. And they're like, oh, so it's a lot more than just the actual time. I'm like, yeah, because I used to do a 60-minute session, and people would always have more questions afterwards. And what am I going to be, that jerk that's like, sorry, your package is done, I'm not going to help you anymore? I fought with that. I struggle with that as a coach. So I was like, I like having 14 days or 21 days or 60 days where it's like, we have that time together. We don't have to rush anything. As questions pop up, we can get them taken care of. And that client will be better served, and they'll get better results too.
I
So,
agree.
and again, it breaks you out of dollars per hour, which I like a lot. All right. Okay. So that's kind of checkbox 3, a simple offer. Don't specify the problem. I want to be able to solve multiple problems, because we got to kind of figure out the big few problems, your core problems that your audience really has, that they most need your help with. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Next checkbox. I want you to start using my 2/3 content rule for expert positioning. I know you got some solo episodes, some interview episodes, and it's kind of spread out in different amounts. And I know that you love doing interviews too. So what I would like to see you do is 2/3 and 1/3. So 2/3, I want you doing solo episodes. I would love to see you doing coaching episodes like this too. I think this is definitely content that you could shine with. But that's going to position you as the expert. And then with that other 1/3, we have strategic interviews. And then, like you said, these could be ideal potential clients as well that you are interviewing, that you're connecting with. That's called the guest to client technique, or that's where if you are solving a certain problem, like podcast launch, okay, and you have a mom entrepreneur come on to talk about successful mom entrepreneurship strategies, and you notice, hey, I noticed you don't have a podcast. Have you ever thought about launching one? Would you be open to a conversation about how I could help you do this? Like that's an easy transition to where that guest could potentially become your client. But I would love to see more consistent solo episodes. So we kind of hit that 2/3. So I went back through your RSS feed, and you kind of you go like 2 solos, then a bunch of guests and a bunch of solos. And I bet it works out to maybe a 50-50. But if somebody new finds your show and the most recent 10 episodes are all interviews, they're not getting that expert positioning, that dose of it that I want them to get. So that's where I'd like to see, solo episode, interview, solo episode, solo coaching interview. That's what I tend to kind of do. So thoughts on that, on implementing the 2/3 content rule? Is that
Yeah,
scary?
it's not scary. I think it's just more so focusing, like, if I want to build a business out of this is what I have to do, especially because I think for so long, the podcast was about me really diving into my passion for interviewing. But I've done so much of that. I don't need to prove it to anyone anymore. And I think I do really need to get into being seen as a expert at something. So for me, I even like thought about I could do a podcast about how to be a better interviewer, whether that's like a job interview, because so many people now are looking for jobs, whether that's how to do media training. There's so many people who come on my show and don't know how to do an interview, but they tell me that after they talk to me, they felt so comfortable, they felt so blah, 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 blah. So, like, there is a way for me to combine my passion with the business, but knowing if I want to make money from it, I have to be more strategic. So, that's very, very helpful.
Yeah. And I like the way your brain is working on this
Yeah,
already,
my
right? And
brain works. I'm just like,
I like the way it's working. I mean, I didn't say it wasn't working before, but I
I know,
like
I
the
know.
direction of your thought process. And that's one of my goals when we do a session like this. I treat you like you're paying me over here. I'm like, I'm not holding anything back. And whenever I'm working with a client, I want to challenge you to think a little bit different. I want to jar your thinking because I know the rebrand that was like, like that freaks
Yeah,
everybody
I
out.
think I'm still, like, tied to the name, but it's just
Well,
yeah.
I think you kind of answered your own question a second ago when you said, like, if you truly want to make this a business and not a hobby, those are two different tracks. A
Yeah.
hobby serves you and it's kind of done however you feel like, whenever you want to do it. And that's 100% okay. But if you come up to me like, Adam, I want to make meaningful income with this thing. I want to pay a car payment with this thing every month. I want to pay my mortgage, or I eventually want to transition to full-time content creator. If that why is bigger than the why nots that we'll have to get through, then it's a worthy process to kind of think through all this and start implementing these things. Um,
I agree, especially because right now my biggest revenue has been, like, working with a podcast agency for ads, so it's like, I could do whatever I want if they're gonna just pay the ads, but, hey, that also then means if they wanna drop me from their roster,
yep.
I'm screwed. So,
Yeah. And I think you can make way more meaningful income. Let's look at the interviewing skills thing. I mean, a 14-day interview skills level up consulting thing. Eventually you can develop some course assets and raise your prices and make it kind of like a hybrid course plus. I just see that path so clearly.
because that connects to personal branding, which I think is also something I like, what's your story? How do you tell your story? Because that's basically what I'm helping people uncover their story or tell their story better. And you kinda need to know how to tell your story wherever you're going career-wise.
Yes.
Um, Let me write that down.
Yeah. Make a note, Raina. So, and the other thing, I can see this path clearly unfolding for you where I start thinking about the next offer. I don't want you thinking about the next offer. That's my job as like the mentor coach person here that always thinks, I try to think one step ahead because I want to be ready as a coach for your question of, okay, we did this. What happens next? So with like a 14-day or 28-day consulting package, people graduate that. They go, all right, Coach Raina, what happens next? And you go, oh, well, I've got this amazing group coaching container for blah, blah, blah per month. You are going to be infused into this community of like-minded, whatever. And we're going to cover, all it's just basically group accountability at this point that you show up every other week and you do
a coaching session, and then they get continued access on Voxer and things like that. So people graduate from the one-on-one into a group thing where you're talking about how we're leveraging our messaging, our voice for branding, for public speaking engagements, podcast interviews, job interviews, things like just confidence in our personal branding. These are all just topics you can hit on inside of this group coaching and continue to add value month after month, and accountability.
And that's the
That's
part I think you really hit on, because for me, it's about finding alignment with what I am passionate about, but also wanting to make money. And the scary part of like making money is like, is it going to be in alignment with what I really want? Like, I don't want to seem like a skeezy salesperson, right? And I don't really care about the thing that I'm charging people for. So I like that we're able to go there and think about ways that we can make that happen.
yes. Yes. Okay. So I got one more quick tip, and like, I think this last little bonus thought will align, and I want to make sure we
Okay.
shout out your show and all that good stuff. I want you to leverage what I call my simple CTA, my simple call to action strategy, where like on your episodes, I don't want you saying, follow me all these places and email me with questions and like all these things. I challenge all my clients, one CTA per episode, beginning and end. Maybe you mention it in the middle, but 50% of the time that needs to be like a discovery call. If you're willing to do discovery calls, like let's talk about working together. And the easiest, non-skeeziest way to do this at the beginning, I've never used the word skeezy in this show, so I'm really, almost 600
See?
episodes in.
Uncovering new
We're
words for you, new semantics.
yeah, skeezy. The easiest, not skeeziest way to do this CTA at the beginning, like with this episode, when this goes live on my show, I'll do an intro where I say, hey, one of the problems I love helping podcasters solve is how to convert listeners into paying clients. And in today's episode with Raina, I coach her through a process to help her do that. Now, after listening to this episode, if you want a little help with speeding up this process, I want you to hit the link in the show notes and hop on my discovery call calendar. I just did a CTA. Bam.
And you don't even say what the show note link is. You just say go to the
I'll
show notes.
say go to the show notes and hit my podcast profit potential discovery call link.
Okay.
So you tell them what it is, and like that's the next step. And I'll say that again at the end. So hey, if you again started building momentum out of this, what you heard today, that's kind of the nice and steady, slow track and free. If you want to speed things up, hop on my podcast profit potential discovery call. The link is in the show notes. We can talk about how I can help you as your coach to speed this up. Bam. So you address the problem you love solving. Say, hey, free stuff, nice and slow and steady, fast track. Hop on the link on the discovery chat if you want to speed things up a little bit. Bam. Simple call to action, non-skeezy. Love it. And you're calling out the problem that you love solving as well. So it's a little bit of expert positioning in there as well. So those are 5 steps that I would love to see you take. I know we fired a lot at you there, but I feel like you can handle this. And
I can.
have that conversation with yourself of what you want out of this show. And if it comes up to, I really want to earn meaningful income, I think the process we unpacked today is really going to be helpful for you. Cool.
Thank you, Adam. This
All
is
right,
really
Renee.
helpful.
Take 60 seconds, shout out your show, your website, social media, and let people know how to connect with you.
Hey guys, this is Raina Campbell, the founder and host of Dreams and Drive podcast, where you learn how to take your dreams out of park and into drive. And that dream can be anything, whether it's finding a new job, whether it's launching a business. There are definitely things that you know that you need to do, but you just need a little kickstart to get going. So if you want to, please check out my show. We're available everywhere, Apple Podcasts, but go to dreamsanddrive.com to get the full download on where you can listen.
All right, Pod Pals, there you have it. Hopefully you enjoyed this live coaching episode. And remember, if you have a goal just like Raina of converting more of your podcast listeners into paying clients, April 21st through the 24th, it is coming up. We'd love to have you join me for this 4-day live virtual workshop. I'm going to be delivering a new homework assignment, a new lesson every day via a private podcast feed for 4 days. And then we have live pop-in help sessions where you can come on in, a little Zoom room action, and I'll be there to help you out with your implementation and with your questions. So I think it's going to be a really effective delivery method, and you're going to have that support there live with me for the implementation over the 4-day period. So would love to have you there. Link is in the show notes. Link is on the main website, podcastingbusiness.school. And with that, Pod Pals, I'm going to send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. I will see you on the next episode.